I'm joined by Harry Litman of the Talking Feds YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to Talking Feds. So we know Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed the special counsel Jack Smith prosecution against Donald Trump that's often referred to as the Mar-a-Lago document case. Judge Cannon says the existence of special counsels is unconstitutional under the appointment clause, and she then says that the appropriations were unlawful as well, but she doesn't have to get there because the appointment was unlawful. She goes against decades and decades of precedent. Special counsels have been appointed both by Democratic and Republican administrations. But Harry, this may end up actually backfiring because did Judge Eileen Cannon do this prematurely, ultimately, for a plan, in the sense that now we've got the prosecutor felon dynamic. Vice President Kamala Harris is surging ahead. Jack Smith immediately filed a notice of appeal with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. There's a briefing schedule. Unless Jack Smith seeks an expedited briefing schedule, it will be heard roughly in mid-October, maybe early November. And then we'll be at this real inflection point. We'll know the results of the election, because let's face it, if Trump were to end up winning, although I think Vice President Kamala Harris surging ahead right now is definitely good momentum versus where we were last week when we were doing this. You know, Trump will make sure that there are no prosecutions and basically the democracy is over. However, now that Judge Cannon's tipped her hand and made such a awful ruling as well, and because this is a fairly easy case to bring to trial, any other district court judge, and you have way more experience than me, Harry, this is a case that should have been brought to trial in 9 months max, maybe even shorter, definitely under a year. Nothing the way Judge Cannon handled this. So to me, if she loses this appeal, if Jack Smith does do something to remove her, if the 11th Circuit sends a scathing order, now could there be in a position with a case against Donald Trump for stealing nuclear secrets, where I know we'll learn so much more about his behavior and what he did if this case can go to trial. I mean, there's a world where this goes to trial mid-2025, May 2025, if Donald Trump loses, because I think the 11th Circuit's going to issue a scathing order and say that Judge Cannon has no clue what she's, doing. But the politics, unfortunately, are a driving factor as well. What do you make of all of this? The 11th Circuit moving at an 11th Circuit pace, Jack Smith moving quick. Where do we go from here, Harry?
Yeah. So I think the pace they're on, Ben, is the normal pace. And I think the DOJ had a decision point on its hands. The very day after this order, the SG, the Solicitor General, which is the special official at the department, has to approve any appeal. She did. Boom. The very next day, boom, he filed the notice of appeal, but he didn't seek to expedite it. I think they had two choices. They could have just taken it and said, all right, I'll just refile right away somewhere else. I'll get back to that in a moment. Or I can try to appeal. In terms of the timing, since they did it that way, we now have the 11th Circuit issuing a schedule. It'd be a little odd now for the DOJ to say, oh, can you speed it up? And I think it just wouldn't, in any event, there's no world in which the 11th Circuit rules before the election. So yeah, you're really right that you can see, let's say Harris wins, the 11th Circuit rules, they reverse as they will, they recuse her as they might. That'll be a whole nother thing for us to talk about. And now Cannon's off the case, and there'll be one of her colleagues who will take it. I think that's right, but I still think she's done her fullest service to him, and she calculated it. It took us a while to come to this view, having been kind of, sort of idealistic in the law, I think, you and me. But look, the judge is in the tank, and this is the best she could have done, I think, for him. She dismisses it, and you have that talking point, and he's gone running with it, a sort of little shot in the arm before the election. Because after that, she had 9, still has 9 big important motion she's never ruled on. She would have to do something. They could have appealed, and they could then have bounced her. So it's not as if it backfires. I think she's done all she can for him. She gums it up and dismisses it. And but that doesn't keep it from being brought in the future. Now, back to what I was talking about, though, because a lot of people are saying, why doesn't the department just say, give it to a U.S. attorney as opposed to a special counsel, refile it, say if she's recused, and you're out of the whole situation. And I think there's a reason, and I don't think that's going to happen. It's a little, I don't know, ironic, or really shows the kind of devotion to first principles of the Department of Justice, especially under Merrick Garland. Look, there's a special counsel reg here. The department promulgated it. When would you need a special counsel who you bring in if there's any possible appearance of impartiality, if not when you're prosecuting the president of the other party? So even though she did him wrong, she did him dirt, the Cannon, to DOJ, I think it's still the policy of the Department of Justice to vindicate their regulation, and especially to avoid the appearance of partiality or sort of political problems. And that means, even though another path could make it quicker, I think they're now on the path of please 11th Circuit reverse it, and then please 11th Circuit bounce her, and then just going back and filing it again, but not by a U.S. attorney, but by Jack Smith. I think certainly as long as Merrick Garland is Attorney General, and I think as long as Donald Trump is not the president, the DOJ is going to look to vindicate the special counsel reg that it promulgated and use it for its own purposes. That'll take a little longer, but the whole time calculation, we've talked about this before, once the election has happened and Trump's either won, disaster, and a lot of them go away, or not won, now it's, is it March 2025? Is it April? Is it November? Matters a lot less, because as you pointed out, he's got a date now with a very, very serious and also almost cut and dried case. And, Cannon I think has done what she can. It goes to another judge, takes a little while, whatever, but it's just not the same ticking clock and nervousness as we've had all the way. But the one point I want to say, because I think I'm a little bit against the grain here, people have been talking about just file it with a U.S. attorney, but I don't think they've thought it through. I think this Department of Justice is going to keep it with a special counsel, keep it with Jack Smith, and that just means play it by the book, hope the 11th Circuit reverses, hope they recuse her, and then refile with somebody else on that very same district court.
Well, Harry, I mean, the conduct by Judge Eileen Cannon throughout this is one of the most atrocious displays of, it made a mockery of the bench. She really screwed over her colleagues, and it's just a raw power play, not following the law. There's no analysis you can do of her orders to even tether it to reality. Just made stuff up to help Donald Trump consistently. And, look, the 11th Circuit, I think Jack Smith tears it. I think he waits for this scathing order, then says, look, based on this order, she's not capable and competent to even be the judge here. Like, just use that essentially as race judicata. Like, look, you just said she's unqualified. Strike three, she's out. Let's get rid of her. Now that's contingent on this election. So I think, Jack Smith is playing the long game. He's playing the cards he was dealt. They're not a great deck of cards because of Judge Eileen Cannon's behavior. But I think he realizes, too, that by making rash, precipitous decisions could lose your credibility and ultimately lose the ultimate war here. And the plan is you got to make the moves and make all the right moves. And there's just sometimes, unfortunately, in the law, you can't control some things. You can control what you can control, and there are things you can't control, but you got to always be confident, be patient, and pick your battles. And I think that's what he's doing. Harry,
it all perfectly. What he said. Is it what he said? Yeah. Exactly right. Right.
Harry, Talking Feds YouTube channel, really check it out. It's a great YouTube channel. If you just even look at the views on some of these videos recently, the channel's on fire. See why there are so many people watching the Talking Feds YouTube channel and why we at the MeidasTouch Network love the Talking Feds YouTube channel. It is great, great stuff. I learn a lot from there. So hit subscribe here, go to Talking Feds YouTube and subscribe there. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you, Ben. Have a good weekend.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.